Hi there, it's Hélène and welcome back, or if it's your first time, welcome to Makeup or Makeup. I am very excited. I am finally going to swatch this beautiful Celestial Odyssey palette from Pat McGrath. I did have the Celestial Divinity from last year, and if you stay tuned on this channel, I will have a comparison of the Divinity versus the Odyssey. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Today I am I'm going to swatch. It's a lot. It's 18 shadows. There's a lot to it. And the big thing for me is I was told a number of times on a number of YouTube channels that this is a better curated palette than the Divinity from last year. And I'm looking at the color story and I'm going, I don't know about that. That's actually a big reason why I got it, because I was kind of going, what am I missing? What am I missing that folks are so jazzed? So let's open this guy. And actually, let me just show you the Celestial Divinity from last year. This is it right here. I absolutely love the color story in this one a lot, but I also like burgundies and purples. So I am biased from that perspective. And Megabyte is my favorite right here. Yeah. Okay, so that is last year. And this year, it's very similar design packaging, but the packaging itself is a lot more robust and fancier than last year. And my dog has come for a visit. Hello, Silhouette. She's such a sweetheart. I'll put a video I filmed some time ago of her if you want to see my dog. Okay, so here is the palette. Now it is magnetized, so that is a change from last year. It does still have the ribbons on the side to hold it together. And the base is that kind of shiny lacquer that the Pat McGrath Mothership palettes have. So that is how it became quite a bit more luxe. And I did want to wait for this video to take the plastic off the mirror, so I'm going to do that right now, because that's just a fun thing to do. Okay, so here we go. Feels so official when the plastic comes off, doesn't it? Okay, so I am ready to do some swatching, and I think that just because it's 18 shadows, I'm going to do 3 swatches at a time and use my main fingers. I think that'll work well. Sometimes the pinky doesn't do a great job, and based on the math, I think I'll do 3 at a time. Okay, just prepping my area here. So I'll just go from left to right, row to row. So I'll do these 3 first, and these next, and so on. And yeah, let's get to swatching. I'm very excited. And I'll also do 9 swatches per arm. That'll be 9 and 9, 18, and there are 18 shadows in this palette. So I'm going to go straight in, going into, and there are no names right in the palette, so I'm not going to go and flip the palette around to see the names all the time. It's just seems like it's too much, unless the names are on the back of the outside packaging. Let me see. Yeah, they're not. So we're just going to go this way. All right, so this is the first 3 in the top left-hand side. The mattes are very nice. That is 1 swatch. That is nice. I have not dipped back, obviously. This is a typical light copper. Fine. And that's a pretty punchy gold. Okay, that's a nice one. I almost don't need a second swatch, but I always double swatch everything. So I'll go back in just for fun, but you can see the saturation on the fingers. That's pretty darn good. Okay, I'm not super jazzed about the colors so far, except for maybe the matte. But it's not to say that they are not nice eyeshadows. Okay, that built up really well, I had no doubt. and the metallics are quite tacky, which is nice. It would probably stay quite well on the inner lid. Well, anywhere on the movable lid, really. And here are the fingers again. I think that's looking pretty good for a first 3, don't you? Okay, let me wipe my fingers and we'll go to the next 3. Okay, the next 3 are quite deep. We're talking about these 3, which I think just the 3 of them together would make for a really beautiful look. So let's try those. So again, we have some real shimmer going on, shimmer or metallics, and 1 matte. There seems to be a bit of a recipe there on the top row. And this second matte is a nice chocolate matte. And I think that a lot of folks would appreciate that one. And I'm very intrigued by this guy. Let's see how it looks. It's the first one out of the gate here for the second pass. Oh, yes, please. That is beautiful. These 2, match made in heaven right there. Okay, the next one is I'd say like an antique gold. Oh, no, I'm wrong. Rose gold. That is definitely a rose gold. It's like a duochrome. And that brown matte I was mentioning, which I think is going to be a workhorse in this palette. Yeah, those next 3 are really, really nice and would go so well together. These 2 for Christmas makes me think of the Violet Voss palette. There's a similar combo in that, like a Boss palette, but all 3 of those I quite like. Although the Pat McGrath green has an element of blue that I don't think is very much in that Violet Voss palette, so they are different. Okay. Yeah, that green gives me midnight sky vibes too. So far, they're very nice colors. Okay, so there we go. I would say the first 6, not bad at all. Not bad at all. Okay, I'm wiping my fingers and we'll go and start on the second row, which is, it looks a lot more neutral than the first row. So let's see how that looks. It looks like very wearable colors, although there is one that's leaning to a kind of a lilac-y purple by what I can see, if the ring light is not messing with my eyes here. Okay, so yeah, the next 3 are quite neutral. So we're talking about these 3. And then these 3 are also quite neutral, but this one is kind of stands out in that second row. So let's see what that looks like. And these next 3 are going to be the last 3 on this arm. 1 matte again. The increase in the number of mattes is a good thing. I believe there are 2, maybe, more than last year's palette. Here we go. That is intriguing to me right there. Let's see. Okay, that one's pretty. Basic, but pretty. And another good matte, kind of a camel with a tiny bit of rosy undertones to it by what I can see. And then this one that I thought was pretty nice. I don't like it as much in the swatch as I liked it in the pan. Go figure. Okay. Okay, second go on that one, and just the fingers real quick. This one really gives you a better idea of how it would look on the eye. That's all right. Okay, and here are the 3 again. And let's see how, especially the matte, how it builds up. Okay, it did a good job. That's nice. Good. Okay. Good. Now, I don't know if you remember the hearing about this, or maybe you haven't heard. But the reason I'm swatching this palette so late is because I actually ordered it very early December last year, and there was just a snafu in the shipping, and then I was not in a big hurry because I wasn't going to be able to swatch it anymore in time for anybody to get it for Christmas. So I just decided to leave it into the new year, because I'm on a no-buy, so there won't be as many palettes that I'm able to show this year compared to previous years. And that's okay, but I just thought, well, why be in a rush to show it if the opportunity to buy it for Christmas was kind of over. So anyway, that's the story with this palette. Now, we are going to this set of 3, and we're also going to switch arms. So that is the first set of 3, and I think it's a very pretty trio. Very pretty trio. But I'll admit that there's a color, a shadow, in the 3rd row that I'm just dying to get to. And if I had my druthers, I would have started backwards to get to that color first. So anyway, but we are going to a very pretty row to start off the other arm, and I'm not sad about that. There seems to be like a silvery lilac or silvery taupe, not sure, and a matte light peachy pink, and then this one I don't know what to make of it. Let's see. Oh, duochrome heaven. All right, take my hair tie off. It's on my wrist. All right, so here we go. Okay, that is super pretty. It's a silvery taupe, as far as I can tell. And that would just add interest to the inner two-thirds of the lid. It would be very pretty. And this is a very solid, pretty pink, pinky peach matte. And this one I'm really curious about. Oh, it's relatively sheer though. Okay, well, let's go in again and see what happens. And the fingers. This one is beautiful. And I hope this one builds up nicely. And of course the matte is solid. They usually are. Okay, here's the second go. And let's see how this one builds up. It's amazing how it's so much more silver on the finger than it is on the arm. I would trust the finger more to give you an idea of what it would look like on the eye. Okay. I am less jazzed about this row than I thought I would be. Just see if you can see the colors properly. I don't know. I'm not into these at all. It's a pretty row in the palette, but as far as execution, seeing it swatched, I'm kind of indifferent. If one of those is your favorites, my apologies. I don't get that second row. I mean, it's a safe row. I don't think that people could really go wrong with those colors, but I don't know. Okay, so the next set that we're going after is these 3 right here. Okay, so I'm going to get right into swatching them. And we have a very nice, rich brown and a golden peach by what I can see. Yeah. And a very deep, gem-like emerald green with a hint of blue. That is a very nice trio. And that would do a look. Just like that, that would do a look. Okay, look at this one. That is beautiful. It's almost like a chocolate orange kind of a color. And this one is very pretty as well. I could see that even going possibly on the brow bone. It's light enough. That is pretty as well. And then this beautiful green goodness. It's like a turquoisey green. Okay, not too bad. I would see these two going together to a certain extent. In a weird way, but I think it would actually work. Okay, I'm going to go in a second time with these fingers. And I'm not having to pick up a lot of product for it to feel tacky enough and built up enough to be able to give you an idea of the color. Okay, so I think we've got 2 sets of 3 swatches for all of those so far. That is really quite pretty. And this would be a very solid kind of single color smoky eye. That would look really good. Okay, so we have 3 shadows left, and those 3 includes a favorite out of the palette. And I'll let you see if you can guess which one of the 3. Okay, here we are. These are the last 3 that I'm going to swatch. And I'm looking forward to it, as you already know. And there is a very coppery brown, a kind of a taupey color again. That's pretty. And then this metallic green as well. Okay, so these are the ones we are working with as the last trio. Okay, not a bad color. I feel like I've got a lot of orange in my collection though. I'm not too keen on adding too many more. I have a lot of orange. And that is a very nice color that would be suitable for just about anybody, for any look. And now the green has kind of a lime shift. Can you see the colors properly? There we go. Okay, let's double swatch those last 3, and of course the fingers. See how different it looks? Once the green is kind of gone, it has a blue base to it. That's neat. Okay. Okay, so here we go. Another set of swatches. The last set of swatches. And here we go. Blue base with what I can tell is, as far as I can tell, lime green. Okay, can you tell which one was my favorite out of the second arm? Can you tell? And the fingers. Okay, in this case, the finger here really doesn't show what is on the arm because the lime green glitter ended up on my arm. So I don't know that the finger residue was a good indication for that one. But it seemed to work for virtually any of the other shadows, but that one was a bit weird. Okay, so let's superimpose here for a sec. Actually, this one was first, so let's put that arm on first. Okay. What can I see here? I am going to say that the first 9, which is this arm, I would say that the top row is more usable than the bottom row. That's the feel I get at this point, even though there are a number of colors that are similar top and bottom. They're just a bit different, but they are similar. So that's an impression I have, at least, that I feel like the top row is more mainstream, if you will. And these are really great anchor mats to build a look with. And the bottom row only had this one mat, so it's a bit different as far as if we're splitting the palette into two color stories. There is a lot of variety of color. That is great. I think that for some people, 4 mattes is kind of borderline okay. And the last year's palette, the Divinity, I think had 3. 1, 2, yeah. The one last year had 3 and only 1 brown. So it had this one, where are they? This one, and this one. So it's not a whole lot of mattes on in either year. But I do think that, so we've got a deep purple, a kind of a maroon, and a dusty rose. And this is a bit more punchy into the rose. And yeah, there's 1 extra matte, and they really put in 3, I would say, more conventional mattes that would suit people probably better than what was provided in the Celestial Divinity. So from that perspective, from the perspective of the mattes, the number of mattes and the matte colors they chose, I think they did a really good job, and they did a superior job from last year. When I look at the colors they chose for this year, there's a lot that's quite on the neutral side. I would say that most of these I would consider more on the neutral side. I would definitely consider this one and this one to be very, very subdued and friendly. This is also definitely on the neutral side. There just seems to be more opportunity to do kind of day-to-day looks. Whereas in here, there are a lot of very unique, maybe for some people, a bit tougher colors to use. That's possibly part of it. Like this is a very, very deep purple. I'm not sure how many people like the green to burgundy duochrome. Not sure if it's super popular. I don't know. I'm a big fan of it. Very, very bright yellow over here. That might have been a bit much of a punch, although there's a bright yellow in this year's palette. What else can I see here? There's a red. I think that there's less reluctance to use a red, but I could be wrong. I do tend to use a red reasonably often. But I think that there's just more challenge maybe in last year's palette than this year. But it doesn't make me like this palette more. I really liked the color story from last year, and based on my swatches, based on everything that we've seen so far in this video, I do like the previous one better. There are a few that are maybe some comparisons worth making. So let me just do a few on my arm here. There are 2 golds. So I'm going to take the gold from the Celestial Odyssey, put it on my hand. And let's compare it to last year's Odyssey gold, or Divinity, pardon me, gold. And the Divinity gold looks like it's more of a yellow. I think we can see the difference already on the fingers. Oh, wrong side. Yeah, so the Odyssey, which is the first one, looks like it's more of an antique gold than a yellow gold. But they're not that different. Okay, I thought they would be a bit different. I don't know if you can hear my dog is dreaming and breathing loudly. I guess she's running after something. Okay, and those are the fingers. So I don't see that much difference. I thought they were more different, but they aren't. Let's see if there are any other similarities. I think I'm going to swatch the 2 greens. Greens are kind of my thing, and I think it would be nice to put those 2 side by side. So here is the green from this year, the Odyssey, or I should say Holiday 2021, and the green that I'm jazzed about, and it's not really technically a green, I guess, necessarily. It's more of an olivey gold. And I'll just swatch it right next to it. So very different. Okay, so these two are Odyssey, and these two are Celestial Divinity. The greens are really what's different, and I have to say I'm more partial to this one than this one, although I would wear either one. Okay, and the fingers. I think as a final set of swatches, I wouldn't mind swatching the two burgundies together. There was a burgundy last year in the Odyssey, the Divinity, and also burgundy this year in the Divinity. Pardon me, Divinity last year and Odyssey this year, and I wouldn't mind putting those two side by side. So let's do the Odyssey first. Okay, so I have this burgundy down here from the Odyssey, so let's do that one first. Okay, so for all these paired swatches, the Odyssey is the first one I swatch. Now let's just do a double swatch. Okay, and I will do a swatch of the Divinity. Change it just in case. Okay, and in Divinity, I'm going to go with this one right here. One's more of a purple and one is more of a burgundy. Okay, so they are quite different. But those are the two deep mattes for each palette, side by side without the matte being a brown. Okay, I'm just going to add a little bit more color because it wasn't quite deep enough for my tastes. Okay, so here are 3 sets of colors out of the 2 palettes that show a little bit of a difference in the type of colors that are in the 2 palettes. The palettes are, they are substantially different. Let me just go back to the swatches for a second, the full swatches. To go back and look at the Divinity. I really think that my preference for the Divinity is because of the purple and greenish gold leaning tendencies of the palette. I mean, there are a number of green inspired shadows as well as gold inspired shadows, and quite a bit that is leaning or is flat into the purple. And greens and purples and yellows are the colors that draw me in the most, and I just think that this one has more of what I'm drawn to. For someone who is more into the neutrals and prefers oranges and browns, I think that this is a better palette. And they're both, as far as I know, from the last time I looked on the Pat McGrath site, they were both still available. So that's nice because you have 2 distinct color stories. One that definitely has more browns and more neutral colors. The other one that has, like I said, more purples and greens and golds. Golds is pretty much the same in here, I would say. Isn't it? There's one. No, there's only really one that is truly a gold. So there's more gold in the Celestial Divinity. Yeah, I would call this one the neutral palette with a few punches, and this one being the more colorful and artistry type of palette. They're both good. I think they're both good, but if I had to pick only one, obviously comes down to personal preference, and it would be the Divinity. It really would. But do I think that the Odyssey's bad? No. no, you can see from all the swatches from the Odyssey, it's not a bad palette. There are punches of color. There's real richness here for the times where you want that kind of a look. And so I'm not disappointed in it whatsoever. I think it has some light colors, it has some deeper colors, and I think it's quite versatile. But if I had to pick, it would be the one from last year that I would choose again out of the two. As far as the quality and wearability, I am going to have to play with this palette and see how it is. I enjoyed the looks I came up with using the Divinity last year. I suspect I'll enjoy a number of the looks I make with the Odyssey. If you have any requests for either palette, really, but let's focus on the Odyssey to begin with. If you have any combos that you are wanting to see as a first impressions or a few more looks, let me know. All of the names are on the back of the palette as well, and I think you can find that as that picture of it as well on the Pat McGrath site. So that is for the Odyssey, and here is for the Divinity. That's it. I have gabbed enough. I hope you enjoyed this video of a bunch of swatches and some back and forth comparisons. Let me know what you think, and I would love to know specifically, if you could only get one, which one would you choose? With that, I will say thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it every single time, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. But for now, take care.